This programme is brought to you by vinny.co.uk.
Welcome back. Champions League pool has given us some great entertainment tonight. Stephen Jameson, Simon Webb, still very much with you until the night is done here in Newcastle-under-Lyme. And a night is still possibly there for either Shane Thompson or Declan Brennan. It's a must-win game for them, and even then they're not guaranteed to qualify. But for both of them, particularly Declan, this is a great opportunity because I think Declan will feel a little bit aggrieved he's in this scenario.
Yeah, and he'd had that break just to think about that last frame and wonder if he'd not taken that finish on at the end. If he'd just played safe, would the clock have run out of time, and would he be there with an extra point on the board and be thinking that a win in this match would guarantee him at worst a 6-red shootout, at best a chance to go through. So he needs to forget about that and just focus on the fact that all he can do is win this match, get himself to 4 points, and it's exactly the same for Shane. Get themselves to 4 points and hope that Dylan Leary does them a favour and they can get into a 6-red shootout from it.
Well, we are about to see what is going to happen then. Out to the arena we go. It should be a great match, at the very least, between two outstanding players in Declan Brennan and Shane Thompson. These are the odds before the start of the night. Declan Brennan was the slight favourite coming into tonight, and we've seen why. He's looked absolutely fantastic. Shane also, particularly in that second match, I thought, looked really good. Took a little while to get going in the first match, but there was points against Dylan Leary where he looked exceptional. Just clearances off the break. Yeah,
I mean, the 4 frames he won were all clearances from the break, so you can't really do that much better than that. Won the match 4-2. You know, when you're taking that many chances, it's very tough to play against. That's not the best break that Shane has ever hit, and we're going to have another look at this one to see whether it's a foul break or not. We had one a little bit earlier on. 4-point rule, of course, in operation with the international 8-ball rules. Point per ball potted and a point for every ball that goes past the centre line. Balls can only count once, so if a ball goes past that line and then is potted, it will still only count once.
The third one I wasn't sure about. 2 down and 1 across.
You can see on the replay that the cue ball bounced as it hit that front ball, which took all the power out of it, which is why the break didn't really open up. But let's have another look. So 1, 2, 3. I think this is going to be a foul break.
3 points, wasn't it? Yeah, okay. You happy? Those 2. Only count was 3 points, yeah? Re-rack.
So it's going to be a foul break and a re-rack. So this match will start again, but it will be Declan Brennan who has the choice of whether he breaks or whether he puts Shane back in for another break. But I assure you he will take the break himself. It's strange, isn't it? And Shane's made 2 balls there, and the balls is still a foul break. It's just a 4-point rule, which really forces players to have to be really aggressive and break with power.
Yeah, and Shane was doing that in his second game. He struggled admittedly in the first, but it seemed to have been, you know, it seemed to be a problem he's resolved in that second match, but maybe coming back to bite him a little bit. One thing that has been sure is, even despite a golden duck, Declan has been hitting the break beautifully. He's been the best breaker of the night so far. Yeah,
he's hit some really good breaks, hasn't he? Okay, the golden duck was unfortunate for him, but that, you have to remember, that was actually a fantastic break.
Yeah.
He hit it really well. He's made balls. Yeah. Unfortunately, one of them was the cue ball, and it wasn't error. It was kicked in off. It was pinballed into the corner pocket. So he just needs to keep faith with it and find one here.
Oh, there's your justice.
Oh, wow.
There's your justice. Declan Brennan bangs in a golden break to even out the golden duck that he had a little bit earlier. Well, unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? I mean, that's full punishment for Shane Thompson foul breaking. That really is, and
yeah, it's good. It's a good incentive to make sure he breaks right, isn't it? To not hand it over and let your opponent do that.
I mean, and the other thing is we're going to see probably for the first time is so that golden break was incredible. The fact it flew into the centre pocket, but Declan gets to break again. Look at that 8 ball flying in.
And that is why the cut break. Oh, I tell you what, I didn't realise at the end how close the cue ball was to going in again. That was so close. I didn't watch it at all.
Frame, Declan Brennan for break.
Well, we have never seen. We've seen back-to-back golden breaks, but we have never seen one player have back-to-back golden breaks. Declan has the chance.
Yeah, we'll be going for it again. Why not? 8 ball on the move. It's another fantastic break. He's creaming these.
Wow.
He really is absolutely blasting them.
He's really crunching it. It's a cut break, but he's really. It's hard to do that. If you go and practice that in your local, well, you obviously can't at the moment. But when the clubs reopen, go and practice that and try and hit the cut break. So hitting the second ball down on the left or right, and hit it that hard. I guarantee you're going to consistently jump a ball off the table. It's really hard to hit the ball that hard, and keep the ball on the table. And that massive break has given him a great opportunity. He's going to have to play a good positional shot on his last red. Not ideal to leave 8 ball at the bottom of the table behind 2 yellows and the rest of your work at the top of the table. He needs to make sure he leaves a good angle to play the positional shot he needs. Not a good angle here. I think he's going to flick into the red, which is why he's taking his time. Yeah, was trying just to slide by it, but I don't think he has. I think he's blocked off the pocket. He's still taking this on. There's not much room here.
It is tight. You can see him just checking it again.
Yeah, I think he's now realised it's definitely not on, so it's going to be a double, which flies in perfect position.
Some clearance in the end of this, isn't it, from Declan Brennan? And 2-0 up. Well, not a bad start for Declan Brennan in a match that he has to win. There was the golden break, and you can see experience has told him just to watch the cue ball. And it gets pushed a little bit. It was still rolling.
Yeah, it was, and that was, to be honest, in some ways, that clearance to back it up afterwards was almost more impressive, to go a very quick 2-0 lead against Shane Thompson. That was an excellent breaking dish from Declan. It really was. Top 4 balls at the top of the table, they were a little bit congested and a little bit awkward, and of course he still had to play that good position onto the 8 ball, but he did very well, and he's in the driving seat early in this match. From Shane's side of the table, the one good news is at least there isn't that much time being eaten up early in this match. Golden break speeds things up quite quickly, so he has time to respond.
Shane Thompson to break, trailing 2 frames to 0.
Might be the quickest 2-0 we've seen at this stage. They haven't played 3 minutes, it's 2-0. Declan Brennan not hanging about. Shane Thompson needs a response. That's a better break. Is he going to make a ball though? No. Oh, this is a good split as well. If Declan can get his angles right here, this could be 3-0 in no time. Just having a look at both courts, it's not a dream split by any means, and in fact so much so Declan doesn't fancy it. It's a tricky one, this, because both the reds aren't easy because of the reds in the middle of the table and the one at the bottom right, and the yellows aren't easy because of the red at the bottom right. Both need a fair bit of work, and also of course the 8 ball glued to the yellows.
Yeah, that's it. And if you're in Declan Brennan's, he's not clock watching, but he is he's happy for his opponent to chase the match. He's no point if he doesn't want to chase this finish and make it easy for Shane to get a frame on the board, and all of a sudden it's 2-1 and it's still loads of time on the match. He would rather Shane went for something tricky.
Red's in play.
It's sort of what cost him in the previous match against Michael Hill, taking on that tricky finish that with only a couple of minutes left ended up costing him. It looks like he wants to continue to be aggressive though, the way he's going around the table.
It's to his credit, he is such an aggressive player, and I must say I love watching it, because he's aggressive without being, how do I explain this? It's not just naked aggression where he's sort of going for it, sort of doesn't really expect it, but he'd rather be aggressive. It's not like it's a mentality, it's it's aggression with a purpose. He knows he's good enough to take it out, and that's what makes him so good to watch.
Yeah, he knows there's a big shot that has to be played, and if we talk about it all the time that you want to try and make your big shot early, you want to play your developing shots early, get all your balls in the open, and then just mop them up. But he's taking on a finish where he knows that the big shot has to come later on in the finish, but he's backing himself to make that big shot. Well, if he's straight on this red to the top left corner, it's no good. He really wanted an angle on this red just to be able to nudge into the 8 ball. Left himself too thin on the previous ball, so control is getting away from him.
Oh, and that's how close he came. So I think if this pots, and it was very close to doing so, it'd have been a tough shot to the middle pocket, but I think he would have had the angle to move into the 8 ball.
Yeah, either as a double or the cut into the centre. The cut would have been a tough pot, but it was guaranteed to develop the 8 ball, but the double might have done it as well. So that was that miss. It's probably cost him the opportunity to do so, but Shane still can't take the finish on because of that yellow and the 8 ball being together, so has to play safe. Good shot from Declan, really good shot. Getting the yellow off the table just to open up that red, but welding the white next to that yellow on the right hand side just limits Shane's chances or what he can go at.
Extension call.
Not easy to play a good safety shot here. To cover the red over the bottom left, you're likely to leave the red at the top of the table, even if it is thin and awkward. And to cover the red at the top, you could leave the red at the bottom on, so tricky.
Oh, that's a shot.
Very good. Pot your way out of trouble. Brilliant from Shane.
It's
just brilliant.
Good shot.
And now the other thing that's done as well, playing the yellow off the yellow, it just nudges the yellow further up the table. So he's now got a ball he can use to develop the 8 ball and the last yellow.
Well, this has been some counter clearance, hasn't it, for Shane Thompson?
Yeah, that was a brilliant shot as well.
Really,
so easy
really
to overhit
high
it.
level.
Yeah, it really is.
That's such a good clearance of Shane Thompson. It really, really is. 2 genuinely outstanding shots within it to make it 2-1. Really, really good work.
Yeah, well, when he came to the table, I was saying what a clever shot that Declan had played, and that was a brilliant pot off the yellow in the middle of the table to give himself the chance. But then you still got to play that delicate cannon at the top. He didn't overhit it. He played it at a good pace to stay on it. Excellent stuff from Shane, and that doesn't just keep him in this match. Keeps him in the whole night.
Yeah, it was in many ways a must-win frame. If he'd have gone 3-0 down, he'd have been in trouble. 5-time UK Tour winner. He has had a very, very successful pool career. Still relatively young, of course, only 31.
Very dedicated pool player, does play a lot. Won't be many days that go by without him putting a serious few hours of practice in.
I think it's going to come dry, and if it does, it might be another good lie. Although, having said that, slightly awkward.
Yeah, just when Shane sees it come dry, he's hoping for a nice open table that he can quickly run through, but he doesn't have it. This is awkward. Red and yellow at the top of the table, red and yellow at the bottom of the table. It's just not what he wanted at all.
Well, reds have to be the colour set because of the cluster of yellows at the bottom left is just awkward. But he's got a couple of really difficult balls for reds as well. This is not easy, although we've seen already him produce a frame almost out of nowhere, so let's see what he has up his sleeve here.
Well, he's thinking if he can clear these reds at the bottom, and he's played a nice positional shot to be able to clear them. Well, I was going to say, I thought he played a nice positional shot. He was just too much angle on that and couldn't stay on the next red. The plan would have been just to leave the red nearest the top right-hand corner pocket with an angle to develop the red and yellow at the top, but he's having to play safe. And foul's been called. He didn't hit a cushion on this shot. See on the replay. Did hit a cushion. Maybe he's called a foul on himself. I'm not sure, because there was two balls clearly hit a cushion and must have either feathered a yellow at the bottom of the table. I'm not sure exactly what happened there.
Yeah, we'll take another look at that in just a moment.
Good shot from Declan though. Just getting another ball up to the top of the table, giving him a chance to develop that bad ball and keeping a snooker at the bottom. Well, this time it's definitely a foul. We know that.
Yeah, let's have another look at this. I don't know. I think, to me,
not sure. Did he feather the yellow in the middle of the table? Maybe he didn't. Obviously, didn't feather a ball at the bottom. Maybe when he was going through to the top, he might.
Just looking at the yellow, it did seem to almost wobble.
I think that must have been what it was. A little feather on the yellow in the middle of the table.
It's the tiniest tickle. That's a good pot from Declan. He's going to have to find another one in a minute. He's got rid of Shane's red at the top of the table.
Oh yeah, sorry, just seeing that replay again. Definitely hits the yellow in the middle of the table. So great spot from Viv, our referee.
Yeah, we were both looking at the other end of the table where his cue was. Didn't see that at all.
Oh, that's a disaster for Shane. That is absolutely not what he wanted.
Yeah, worst possible case scenario that. Because not only has he not potted his ball, but he's made Declan's clearance incredibly easy.
The only ball he needs to really worry about is the yellow by the 8 ball. Although he'd rather I think he'd like to have that previous shot back again. He takes the yellow at the top of the table, he's going into the red, so he's having to come back down the table. From distance. And now he's awkward.
Yeah, isn't he just?
We can just see the potting angle of this yellow.
Oh, that nudge was beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought he'd nudged it more awkward than it was, but leaving that on, he still has to go up the table for that yellow. I know it sounds really simple or it looks really simple because it's so close to the pocket, but if he doesn't get far enough up the table, then he's going to hit the red in playing position, and he's not going to get nicely on the 8 ball. He has come up the table plenty far enough.
This to go one away from keeping himself in the mix here, Declan Brennan. Beautifully played in the end to put himself 3-1 up.
Frame.
This is Decky's profile. Another Liverpool fan. I think all 4 might be.
No, there's a Nottingham Forest fan in
Oh,
there.
the Nottingham
Of course I
Forest
spotted
fan,
that.
yeah. 3 Liverpool fans among us, which is of course common for those on the other side of the Irish Sea. Declan, a prolific snooker player in his youth, semi-finalist of the World Amateur Championships, is some going, needless to say. That's a ridiculous accolade, actually.
It is, and it's because of snooker that he hasn't actually been playing pool that long. You know, he's relatively new to the pool world, but really starting to make his way and make a name for himself. Comes with a really big following and a really big reputation.
Thompson to break.
And you can see why.
Yeah, oh, he's
You
fantastic
really
player,
can
he
see
really
why.
is.
I think it's the first time he's appeared on our screens on Free Sports, and I really hope it's not going to be the last. He is some talent. Well, it's either been all or nothing for Shane. He's either hitting brilliant breaks or hitting awful breaks. No in between. This is another brilliant one. Great chance here to go 3-2.
Red balls in play.
And he's got to get a bit of a wiggle on Shane Thompson, because actually a draw is no good to him. He has to win. Both players do. If this match is a draw, Nick Hill could put his feet up in the last match.
Yeah, relax, enjoy it. He would already be through, wouldn't he?
So
Whatever happens in this match, Michael will just need 1 point.
I must say, it's usually when you get to this stage in the night and get to that point where the man who's won 2 games just needs to beat the man who's not won a game yet, you usually think, basically it should be just about there. It's almost done and dusted. I don't know. I just feel like the quality of opposition in Dylan Neary, who's played well, you could genuinely make a case to say that Dylan's probably played as well as Michael Hill has tonight.
Yeah, I absolutely.
I don't think Michael's been anywhere near his best, and I don't think Dylan's been anywhere near as bad as 2 defeats makes him look. And he will really want to win.
I think
it's not written yet that this is all over.
I'd say Michael's made more mistakes. He's had more chances and he's mopped up well, but you know, Dylan hasn't done a lot wrong in his matches. What we have seen from him, he's played well. He just hasn't had the same number of chances as his opponents.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just as he seems to be getting used to it, it may settle him down the longer he plays, of course, but Dylan, no pressure on him, and will be desperate to get himself a win as well. It's difficult because when we've had these matches in the past where it's been first versus fourth, there has been that obvious discrepancy in you've got one player who's playing really well and a player who's maybe less fancied on paper but also not got the results. That's not the case tonight.
No, I mean, you know, Dylan's won some great championships. He's the current European champion. You know, he's more than capable of winning that match. You know, he came in here and wouldn't have been a surprise to see him win through this group. Oh, 8-ball in the move again.
That's an absolute hammer of a break again, by the way. Goodness me, he's hitting it so well.
What we're seeing with this break is the 8-ball sort of parking itself and then another ball's flying into it with pace. It's not the first time he's done that.
First shot's not easy there, and he's got an extension to think about it. He'll be glad for that.
Oh, he misses this one by quite a long way, and he's annoyed because he knows at 3-1 up he was looking very comfortable. 4 minutes 36 on the clock, and Shane's got a chance here to tie the scores up. Eight ball's awkward. Yellows are nicely open for him. He'd expect to clear these yellows up, but landing on that 8-ball nicely down the cushion is not going to be that easy to do.
Yeah, and it might cost him the frame if he does it as well.
Yeah, he has to take it on though, doesn't he?
Can't not at this stage.
Yeah. I'm just wondering whether the double's on. Is that red in the way? Because the double's quite easy to play on if the red's not in the way.
thought he might do that. Yeah, so he's screwed into the red to clear the way. I think he's got to play on it as a double now, right?
Yeah, I mean, it will all depend on what angle he leaves on his last ball, but I think the double could be favourite from here.
Might even be back-to-back doubles.
Drop this one in. Doesn't need to get the cue ball that much further down the table to be able to back double it.
Here we go then. This for 3-3. Misses, and it could be curtains for Shane Thompson. All on this shot. Not to be. Not to be. And now Declan Brennan has best part of 3 minutes. Clear table, a clear path through to a second win in Group 8. Wasn't far away.
There'd have been some worry there for Declan, sat in his chair, thinking about the 3-1 lead he's potentially given up. And all of a sudden, that missed double, it's all in his own hands. This to put some real pressure on Michael Hill in that last match.
You see him shaking his head in the background there. He's still thinking about it. Tough one to take for Shane Thompson. He's played well tonight. But in this group of all groups, it's just shown you cannot make a mistake. So little margin for error. The quality of your opponent is just so high. And that'll be shown next week and the week after as you move into the second stages. Any mistake will be so costly. Such is the standard of opponent. These are the final stats. There's not much in it. Declan actually missing more pots than Shane in that match. A couple of fouls from a safe cracker to make up for that in that regard. But Declan, really impressive throughout much of that match, and he gets himself over the line, gives himself a chance, and now he'll be cheering on his countryman Dylan Leary up in that final match. To clarify, Dylan Leary has to win the match, and it will force a 6-red shootout between Declan and Michael if he does so. Michael Hill needs a point to qualify for the second round of the Champions League pool. We'll find out if he gets it when we come back.
This programme is brought to you by Vinny.co.uk.